elections. Another country is also heading into election year next year. Former General Prabowo Subianto may enter the race in Indonesia, which would be a rerun of the bitter 2014 race won by Joko Widodo. Bloomberg's international government executive editor Rosalind Mathieson joins me today. So it's deja vu. The question really is whether Prabowo has boosted his ammunition to win this time round.
Well, yes, as you're saying, Haslinda, it could be a rerun, but it could also be a very different and interesting campaign. Of course, in 2014, Jokowi was the outsider, the anti-establishment candidate, and that really helped carry him over the line. And Prabowo was trading on his strongman image as a former general and was seen as part of the establishment. This time around, Jokowi has to campaign on his record. He is now part of the establishment. And while he's done a lot on terms of infrastructure and healthcare, he also has struggled to get growth over 7%. And he is more popular right now than Prabowo, of course. But as we've seen, Prabowo is a very shrewd campaigner. I'm sure you remember in 2014 the theatrics of Prabowo coming in to the stadium on a white horse. And he's very, very good on the campaign trail. So certainly there is a gap now, but we can expect that to narrow.
What would be the key issue? Would religion play a part? I mean, we've seen how politics played a part in Jakarta.
Very much so. Prabowo, of course, backed the candidate who became the governor of Jakarta in a campaign that was quite aggressively fought on race. We saw some strong rallies by hardline Islamic groups. We saw the failure of Jokowi's ally, who was Jakarta governor, the Christian Chinese governor at the time. So we can expect that race and religion will play a part. We can also expect that Prabowo will push Jokowi on his China stance.
So, having said all that, Roz, if you were to look into the crystal ball at this point in time, with some months yet to go, does it look good for Jokowi? Can he expect another term?
Well, as I said, he does have quite a good record to campaign on in terms of he's had pushed infrastructure. You and I, of course, were out at Lake Toba interviewing him and seeing firsthand what he's been doing with infrastructure. He's expanded healthcare, access to education. He's made business doing easier. He does have some negatives that Prabowo can probably go on, including economic nationalism being another one. However, Jokowi also is pretty good on the campaign trail. He was very known in 2014 for going walkabout, going into places unannounced, to businesses, to people. He's very much still seen as a man of the people, and that's probably something he'll campaign heavily on.
What would be the biggest risk for the international community and for the investment community?
It is if economic nationalism does come to the fore. We've seen signs of that already in the past couple of months, and it's an easy thing to campaign on during an election. Of course, if the economy is not growing as strongly as Jokowi would like and Prabowo is attacking him because of that, you can see that there might be the tendency to be quite protectionist and to sort of shut the lid on trade a little bit and for foreign businesses, and that's probably their biggest concern.
You know, we've both spoken to Jokowi, and he wants the next 5 years to push through the reforms that he's put in place. What are the risks that if Prabowo were to come into power, that everything that Jokowi has put in place will be reversed?
Well, the interesting thing is that on some occasions, Gerindra, which is the party of Prabowo, has supported Jokowi in Parliament, and we have seen some signs of pragmatism on policy between them. The difference is, of course, during an election campaign, the differences become more acute, and Prabowo will be playing up his differences to Jokowi. But in reality, in Parliament, the party has supported Jokowi from time to time, and some of his economic policies could be expected to continue.